Hello, everyone.
Can you guys hear us?
Hello.
Can you
Hello.
see us?
Hello. Can you see us? Can you hear us?
I don't think so.
I think so.
Yeah?
I think so.
Yay! Okay.
Hi, Umo.
Hi, everybody.
Sai.
Welcome in.
Dylan.
Oh my goodness.
Sassy Girly. Cody.
How is everybody doing today?
Santa Fe Audio Visual. Arco. Chris Double. Robert. Miko. You can see and hear us. That is
Yay!
incredible.
Jan, General Kenobi, Clever Devlin. Your name's amazing. Hello, everybody
Hello.
on Behance and YouTube. Yay! It's so good to see you guys. It's so good to be back.
It is. Hi, I'm Ashleigh.
I'm
This is
Courtney.
Courtney. Our names are switched up above, but hello. It is nice to see everybody. Thank you so much, like Courtney said, for having us back. We're really, really excited to talk about our latest short film called Mommy Issues, talk about what the workflow and post-production deliverable has looked like for us, because we filmed this project back in August, and we are hitting a deadline for South by Southwest submission tomorrow, October 2nd.
Woo.
So, hi Ryan, it's great to see you.
It's good to see you again.
Thank you all so much. Atul, hello. It's so wonderful to have all of you with us, and thank you so much for tuning in from all over the world. Can we ask where you are joining us from, if you are in chat, if you don't mind answering?
Yeah, tell us all the things.
Hi, Vandal. How are
Hi,
you?
welcome in. So this is the first time we've really worked with a big production team or post-production team. Usually Ashleigh and I do everything. And as you all know, Premiere makes that so easy to do. So when you have your one-stop shop and now you have to send it out, first of all, is a relinquish of control, but it was the best thing for us. But that requires so many extra steps. And when you're working with professionals, they have very specific things that you need to deliver, and that can get confusing. So we're here to show you the best way to keep your timeline organized and all of that stuff.
Absolutely.
Ireland, yes.
Nice.
Brooklyn, let's
BK
go.
all day. Montana.
Paco, hello.
Finland. Hello.
Texas.
UK.
Oh my gosh, how's the weather there right now?
Texas, Germany. Incredible. Hi, Paco.
Well, thank you guys for giving
General.
us your time. We
Yeah,
know everybody
absolutely.
on Pacific time. It's okay for us on Pacific time. It's early, but
Absolutely.
yes, welcome in. Okay.
All right, so we're going to just jump in really quick and tell you a little bit about the film, and then jump into our timeline and show you some of the stuff that we've been working with. Court and I are independent filmmakers. We've been creating films our whole lives separately, but we've been making films together for about 12 years. We've made 200 plus films, from documentary to music videos to narratives, ranging in span of 5 seconds to a feature. You can check out more of our work later, and I mean, I guess you're going to see it now, which is really exciting.
So this is super secret.
It is. As I mentioned a little bit before, we did just film this project August, the last weekend in August, I think the 24th and the 25th, if I'm not mistaken. And this was such a special project for us. We wanted to do a project that was inspired by Black Mirror, and we wanted to talk more about connection and how technology will destroy us. So this film is called Mommy Issues. This poster was created by yours truly. Do you want to talk just a hair about the design of this?
Yeah, I can't say too much without giving things away, but this was made in Photoshop. And I really love the textures that you can get in Photoshop, but just it's symbolic, I'll say, and you're going to get the reason for the flamingo. I think we're going to show you a little bit of the film, just a hair, so you're going to understand why that's relevant, but I can't really talk about the meaning of it too much without giving it away.
Hi, Josie. Umo asks, is the poster made of a diaper?
If you want it to be.
Maybe.
Yeah. Also, I apologize for my scratchiness. I'm still recovering from COVID. So,
hi, Sean.
Pardon the goblin that will leave sometimes. Okay.
It's wonderful. Wonderful. You didn't see anything. So this project for us, as Courtney mentioned, is really the first time that we were working with a production team. So we had to make sure that everybody had their deliverables, from our colorist to our composer, to our sound designer, to our visual effects artist, and making sure that everything was organized was Courtney's number one. So when we're working through projects,
I'm sorry.
when we're working through projects, Courtney will assist and edit, and will make sure that our timeline is set up to the utmost success. And she makes sure that each scene has a timeline. Everything is clearly labeled. You can't see what I've done, which is just sometimes destroy
I've
this.
hit it. It's okay. We fixed it.
She hit it just for you, Ryan.
No, I did fix it, but I think it's important. So actually, first pro tip, if you guys are just editing in general, something that we like to do is, let me see the mouse real quick.
Of course.
Is not this. First of all, create as many bins as you can, but I like to do it
What is a bin for those of us that don't know?
Bins are fun folders for you to organize all of your things, and they actually make it really easy to do so. So what I like to do, let me move my mic a little bit, is I like to do the scene and then have each video and audio take underneath. So, and then each scene will have its own sequence, and it has to have its own sequence because it gives you the opportunity to, I'll show you here. It gives you the opportunity to build your edit here, and then any of your extra footage can sit in the back, which we don't really have any for this scene. Of course, I picked the one scene where we don't have that, but
you did pick the shortest scene with one angle.
I did. But it just gives you an opportunity to be able to edit and leave all of your extra footage at the back without trying to get tangled in your main timeline, and then you're moving things all over the place. So once you've edited the scene, then you take what you've done and then you throw it into your main edit timeline, which is something that's really important for us. And then you get to have multiple sequences open up here, which we do often. So then once we're done, we just plop it in here. But so yeah, having this as organized as possible is always really, really nice. And anytime you do any sort of deliverable, duplicate your sequence and work from there. We're constantly doing that. We have one for everybody in production. So there's one for, let's see, there's one for score and audio up here, one for color, one for VFX. We do not play. We've lost many projects thinking that we were on a different timeline and we weren't, and then we ended up messing up something and couldn't go back, and it's a nightmare in general.
Something also that we found to be really, really useful for us is making sure that all of our audio channels and all of our video channels are labeled. We normally work on a Mac. This is a very special case that we have our project pulled up on a PC, so all of our stuff didn't transfer over properly. But as you can see, when we haven't been able to get all of the assets back for our project that is due tomorrow. So you are seeing this in the condition that we left it for us to be able to deliver all of the that's a really great still, for us to be able to deliver all of the assets that everyone needed. We learned very quickly a couple weeks ago how amazingly simple Premiere makes things to be able to export out. We had asks for XMLs, we had asks for certain formats for our visual effects artist, and this is where, when Courtney goes in and labels all of these, we can easily turn off our black bars. Our project, we're shooting in an aspect ratio of 2:3, or we're delivering in an aspect ratio of 2:3:5:1. And so we do have these black bars on here that we can turn off and on pretty quickly and deliver several different versions of this timeline to our colorist. You can talk more about that, what that was like for you to work with our colorist.
Yeah. So a lot of times, first of all, it really depends on what your colorist needs. So because Ashleigh and I had changed the aspect ratio in post, and we added the black bars, that immediately changes the scale of the image. And depending on if we're shifting it to now maybe center, this is a perfect shot, actually, this shot of Chris. So you can see that there's a black bar down here because it's justified for the black bars in the end. Now, we did run into a little bit of confusion with our colorist because she was like, it's not scaled right. Why? And that's because when you're delivering for a colorist, what they want is they want your any effects turned off. They want your transitions turned off. And in this case, our black bars turned off. So
can you explain for everyone why that's the case?
Yes. So when you have a transition, it sort of like if, let's say you do a crossfade between two clips, it's going to make it really difficult for your colorist to now try to blend the color if the color grade is different. Whereas if you just have your start and end of your clip, they can do their work, which is much easier. Effects is the same thing. Color grade needs to happen and then effects can go on top of it. Unless you're doing VFX, which color grade usually tends to happen after because you have to match the color or the VFX with your color grade. So, but in this case, we did not have a lot of time. So our wonderful colorist, Lana, she started working on the project while our wonderful VFX artist, Jeremy, is also working on the VFX of it. So they have to work in tandem. But this timeline has nothing on it. And while you can do what Ashleigh
has no
said,
effects on it.
Yes, has no effects, nothing on it. I prefer to just delete it, which is why I have a color sequence by itself.
She deletes the effects and transitions is
and
specifically what she's saying.
Yeah, so I took all the black. Can you hit control for me? Thank you. So I took all of the black bars, everything. Can you hit it again? No, just hold it. Hold it down. Thank you. You're good. So I took all of that stuff off. We only had one transition in here, or one effect in here, so it wasn't too bad. And then I always ask as well if your colorist wants the audio. In this case, Lana did, but a lot of times the colorist will say, no, I don't need any of the audio. You can just get rid of it, in which case I would delete it. But you can mute these tracks as well and send it. But for me, I just like to make it as easy as possible in case something could go wrong in your XML export. It's better to just get rid of whatever it is on your timeline, just to make sure that nothing ends up all wonky. And then I also asked if she wanted the music, which she wanted all of that too. So this was a pretty straightforward one for our colorist, which was great. She didn't need too much, but yeah, just make sure that you create your own sequence and just delete all of that stuff. In this drone shot here, which I don't know if it's going to pop up. There we go. We actually had a speed ramp on this.
Which is very easy to do.
Yes.
In Premiere.
Yes.
And it's very exciting.
That was something that we had to delete. So that's just wipe them out. Exactly. You just wipe all the stuff out. I just find it easier instead of just waiting for the time where they're like, I'm so sorry, something happened. We don't have time for that opportunity and I'm not going to let it breathe. So, but we did have a speed ramp in here, which we had to delete, and just make sure that you go back and watch it because sometimes something happened. Just make sure that the entirety of the clip is there because that can also get lost. So just make sure you watch it back. So
please always watch your projects back when you're doing your final, when you're rejoining them, because we've seen it several times that projects have been exported out missing a color grade on 2 clips, and it's very evidently clear when you're missing a color grade when the rest of the project has been colored.
I have done it as a colorist and it hurts. So this is pretty simple. You're just going to go up to File and you're going to do the Final Cut Pro XML. That's going to be the one that you're going to use, and it's going to be easy peasy, lemon squeezy. So that was the easiest deliverable for us to do because I'm also a colorist. So it was pretty straightforward for that one. And also Lana just makes it easy. She tells you exactly what she needs. Just, make sure you're asking all of your post team the exact deliverable that they need because it will change how you export things from Premiere.
It's true. Another just fun fact about our project is that a lot of our post team worked on the film on set. So everybody, for the most part, knew the footage. They were familiar with the project. And if they weren't consulting on set for the job that they were doing in post-production, they were very, very familiar with the project, which made all of this so much easier. Lana, our colorist, she actually came on and was doing script supervision for us on set, which is making sure that there's continuity, making sure that the actors know their lines in the case that they miss something, and marking down any of the takes that we we like on set so that we have notes when we sit down for edit. So having her on set and having her have seen the monitor and having her seen the vision for the project really helped transfer when we were communicating with her in post-production.
Yes. And Santa Fe says, what? Don't just trust fate?
Oh my goodness.
We do, but fate and technology don't get along.
It's true.
And we have had a plethora of problems, as anybody in post-production knows. Things happen. They just happen. And we are not doing that.
Yeah. So when I know that we're talking about deliverables, but can you talk a little bit about what the re-implementation of color is going to look like? Are you planning on bringing the color grade into this and then setting it?
Yeah, so it really depends. She's going to send an XML back, but that could be one of two things. Sometimes a colorist will just send the entire project as it is, as one giant clip. And so you can just bring it into your timeline sequence. I need to keep saying sequence, not timeline, and set it right on top of your footage, and then off you go. Some people prefer that. It makes it easier. You could also go in and just replace your clips if they get sent back one by one. I think what I'm going to do is I'm going to create a new sequence, because that's what we've learned today. We're going to do that. And then I think that I would prefer to have each individual and just have it just in case. So that's what that's going to look like. I'm going to import the XML, grab all that footage, and then create a new main edit, which is going to be our final _1 V2 final. And excuse me. So that's how I'm going to go about doing that. Which we should be getting back today, which is amazing.
It is. I'm very excited. We've been working very closely with our colorist, and Lana and Court have just done a really remarkable job making this project look as beautiful as possible. I made a huge mistake on set. I was also the cinematographer. I made a huge mistake on set, and we shot in Rec 709 and not in log. So for all of us nerds out there, it just meant that when we were in color, we didn't have as much play with the range of color. You can also talk more about that.
Yeah. So you can actually see it in here. I'm so sorry. You're going to have to excuse me again, because you guys are amazing. Okay. So you can see there's already color baked into here. This is the Rec 709 that Ashleigh's talking about. And so this color information already exists. When you shoot in log, you can remove just about all of the color to the point where it almost looks 100% desaturated, but it's not. So it just allows you a lot more wiggle room when you're trying to manipulate color. Thank God this Rec 709 looks gorgeous. So it already has really good bones, and that means it doesn't need a lot, which is amazing. But yeah, it allows your colors to do a lot less if you really need to manipulate something. Like if you wanted to turn this red into purple or something, you'd have a really hard time.
With Rec 709 versus log.
Yes.
Yeah, so log is essentially like a coloring book page, if that makes sense.
Yeah.
Not exactly, but that's the best way to explain it. Arco asks, what is in the XML files that are being sent back and forth? How does a plain text file like that interact with the footage?
So this is kind of like, an XML is kind of like a zip folder would be the easiest way that I get some honey tea stat. I know I need it, and trust me, I will after this. So it's essentially like a zip folder, and it's going to send all of this beautiful information in one neat little bow, and then it'll open up properly fingers crossed it'll open up properly.
It's going to.
Yeah, and it's going to in whatever program you have. The only time that gets complicated is when you're using another program that will not be named. So, but in Premiere, it's incredibly easy. Your XML, I've actually never had an XML not work in Premiere. So, yeah, it'll be pretty simple. Do you want to go into what you did for Hal, for our composer?
Sure. Yeah. Also, Arco, thank you for asking that question. Yeah. And Umo, thank you so much for jumping in and helping explain that as well. So for our composer, we had to deliver a Pro Tools file, essentially. Pro Tools. So one of the other things about post-production is that you're working on so many different programs that you have to make sure that when everything is coming back together, that you're able to export out the exact files that they need so that they can open and work as optimally as possible in their settings. So with Pro Tools, we had to export out several different versions with different tracks. So we know that we could have collapsed all of the dialogue down, and we've got a lot of different tracks down here. And yeah, it's not great. That's my fault. But we've got all of our music on certain tracks. We've got all of our dialogue on other tracks. And our composer, Hal, asked for us to deliver with different settings. We had all of the dialogue separated. We had all of the effects separated, some of the Foley separated. I know it's so many tracks. This is where I am not like Courtney, and I'm sorry. We're gonna work on collapsing these next time, and that we're just really excited to get into Edit. And then we had the music on different tracks as well. So we had to deliver several different iterations so that this opened properly in Pro Tools. What was really amazing is that all of the data, as far as like what was muted or what wasn't muted in our timeline, transferred over perfectly to our composer. So it made things super, super easy when we were delivering and then had to re-deliver elements of the project so that he could work optimally. And what was really amazing is that because this was organized and he's organized and our amazing sound designer, Nick, is organized, everyone's Pro Tools files are perfectly synced. So everything will be delivered. So sorry, bud. Everything will be delivered to us in one track, which is incredible. So
because we don't need any more, obviously.
Yeah. So when we end up putting, this is our current main timeline, when we actually ingest in the timeline that will have the export of the final one film, will have all of this down to stereo tracks. So this will be 2 tracks audio, and then we'll have the 1 video track that has all of the information for color, all of the information for the edit, and it'll be very, very straightforward, which I'm very excited for.
Yes.
Yeah. Does anyone have if you have any questions about anything at any time, please feel free to jump in.
Yes. Can you show how to export that Pro Tools file?
Yeah. So for exporting, you go up to here, export media. You can send it to encoder if you want. And then here's where I didn't realize a lot of people don't check this as far as where your export will go. And I've had to do a lot of conversating lately about this. But this is where you set where your out point is. So if you're working off a hard drive, it's automatically going to send that file to whatever Premiere hard drive folder you're working out of. And then here's your preset as far as your video. Sometimes you don't need to export out video. And then you can go down here and even further look at the presets and then go into customs. Audio,
which we will certainly be looking at this screen again when I am talking about delivering for VFX and for audio.
Yeah. So in audio, you have access to be able to deliver WAV files, to be able to deliver MP4 AAC, MPEGs. You can customize all of your information as far as your sample rates, your channels, your bit rates, and in the case that you have to do timecode, your timecode is actually baked in here in your export file, which is incredible because you can just turn that on right there. You can position it. Like, look at all of these options. Amazing. And timecode is essential when you're working with your collaborative team, because when you're giving any type of feedback or notes, you're not going based off the project file. You're going based off this timecode. And to be able to dial it down and get specific down to the millisecond is incredible. So we can be like, hey, there's this really weird noise that happens at 3:23:02. Can you get rid of that? And they can go straight to there. So again, having that time code overlay burn in at the very end of the process instead of having to add it onto each individual clip, which you can do, but this is definitely much easier when you're already in post and you're already in your export. We also can export these straight to any of our linked accounts. So we primarily work out of Dropbox, YouTube, Vimeo, and Google Drive. So we can link our Vimeo right here. Again, we can also go and export out into the, I'm in my export page. You can go to the Adobe Media Encoder if you need to do anything very, very specific. We haven't had to do anything really specific that we couldn't do within the main export page.
Ray asked if there is an advantage in sending export to Media Encoder.
For some people, yes. Some people don't prefer working with it. What we've found is our collaborative team and our post team has been really, really straightforward about, we've been able to export everything out of Premiere straight instead of having to send it into a media encoder. The media encoder is really helpful if you are trying to upload 4K footage and shrink it down. So instead of using another program like Handbrake or any of the other programs that will encode, it's amazing that you have it baked into Adobe.
And exactly what Sean said, you can export it and have it render on another computer, which is nice.
Yes.
Which is really, really nice.
Yeah.
Also, shout out to Media Encoder for making proxies super, super quick.
Super quick.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah.
It is wonderful.
Do you want to talk about that? Like what a typical process using proxies are? And what a proxy is?
Okay, so when you shoot in 4K or in anything other than 1080s, and depending on your computer speed, you're going to want to work in proxies. Proxies are like in photo form, because I come from photography, but if you had a TIFF file, which is a really big file, and instead you're working in JPEG, it's like half the amount of information, but it's going to allow you to edit really quickly. Except in photos, you can't go, once you've scaled down, you can't scale back up. But so your proxies, once Media Encoder makes your proxies, you can just toggle this on right here, and you can, now you're working in your proxies, and Premiere makes it super easy. So when you're ready to export, sometimes you can just export out and Premiere knows that you don't want to export your proxies, but I always turn it off just in case, because I'm that person, just in case, just for funsies. But now we toggle it back on and all of your proxies are great, and it allows you to see your work and edit that much quicker. Oh, no, it is not just for playing Flash games.
Also, just jumping back, does the video actually get converted into XML too, or is it just the modifications?
Wait, I'm sorry.
Arco asks, does the video actually get converted into XML too, or is it just the modifications?
It is everything. Every single piece of information. Like I said, imagine if it just ends up shrinking it into a zip file. Everything about your project, all of that information is recorded. Do you lock tracks? Yes, it depends. Yes, we do. We do lock our layers because it's important.
Some of us lock our layers.
Some of us lock our layers.
It is that does not.
In this case, can you hit Control for me and hold it? In this case, it would be something like this. Any of these audio cues down here, those are the ones that we would lock in the process, because if we're moving around all of these other things, we just don't want to get any of that stuff. And same thing with the black bars. It just really depends. But yes, we will end up locking layers because an edit can get really heinous really quick. Hi, Gabe. Oh my goodness.
Hi.
Hello. Okay, so I can talk about audio a little bit if you want.
I want to just jump back. Yep. Miko asks, does it remember your last set location for future exports, or always defaults to a certain path?
It will remember if the drive is plugged in.
So Miko, we're primarily working on a Mac, And in our Mac, it does save the presets, but because we're showing this project to you on the PC, it's not going to go to the same place as the Mac one would go, if that makes sense.
That makes
Just because
makes perfect sense.
We're in a completely different interface per se. And I'm not working off the same hard drive that the actual project file that we're working on on our Mac is.
Yeah.
So Elwira, hello, and up tempo. Thanks for jumping in and asking questions.
Welcome in. Yeah, thank you guys so much. Okay, are you good jumping for audio?
I'm sorry, audio?
For me.
Oh yeah, go for it.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay, so our sound designer, Nick, who also did our on-set audio, he needed his own thing, which means he needed all of these lovely files down here. We had to end up deleting the music on this, and so all he wanted was the audio. This is when it gets really, really important of making sure that you're doing the proper deliverables for your post-audio person, so that things run smooth. And normally, if you're doing like a WAV file, if that's what you're going to send, you can mute your tracks if there's something that you don't want in there. But again, I like to just delete things, create its own timeline, and so everything's fine. But if you don't want to do that,
I'm sorry. Would also just love to jump in and explain what the M and the S is.
Yep.
The M is muted. So that just means that track, if we're playing if we hit play, you won't be able to hear anything that are on the muted tracks. Same with if we were to, can you just hit the eyeball on video 1? So if we turn that off, you won't see any of the video footage that's on that. So that's effectively muting that video track as well. So that's just what that means for those of you that don't know.
Yeah. So again, if you're going to do an AAF, which most post audio want, whatever it is you don't want, you're going to have to delete it because you can't just mute it. It will still show up unless something has changed. But from everything that we've done in here, WAV is fine, AAF is not fine. But he wanted an AAF, and not only did he want that, he also wanted the audio embedded, which if someone says that to you, you immediately need to allot way more time than you think you do to give this deliverable. Okay, so...
Yes, I'm so sorry. S is to solo that track. Solo means that's all you're hearing.
Yes.
Thank you for the clarification, Umo.
Sorry. Okay.
You're okay.
So instead of going to our export page for audio to get this AF, we're going to go to export AF here. Thank you for saving. All right. Now, normally you could just export it right as it is, but because he wants the audio embedded, so make sure you ask that, then we have to enable this right here. And then you have the option to embed your audio. It just connects your audio to your video as opposed to just having it separate, which he prefers. And also he wanted the video. Sometimes your post audio will not want the video, they just need the audio. But yeah, so you're gonna have this. And once you click this, it has to render out every individual clip in your sequence, which means a lot of time. So please make sure you're giving yourself the time to do that, but I'm not gonna hit okay because I don't want our computer to crash. But that's where that would happen, and that is where you get that deliverable for them specifically. And again, if they don't need that, then you don't even have to worry about it, and you can just hit okay as soon as you're done. But that was something that he specifically wanted, and I was like, you're gonna need to give me like 3 hours to get that for you. But that's pretty much that, and that was all that he needed. It was easy peasy, but just make sure that you've allotted time.
I will say, if you haven't caught on by this point, when you are working in your timeline, the more prepared you are and the more niche things you have, i.e. the mommy issues color, the mommy issues for no music, main edit, VFX, the more organized you are, we have been giving constant notes across all of these different areas of production. And with the film being due tomorrow, having all of these on separate timelines, when there is an issue, we're able to go straight back in, which is something that happened over the last 3 days in particular, and export out the specific thing that they need instead of being like, okay, I have to go to this random timeline, I need to figure this out, what have you. And so having this as organized as possible has saved us so many headaches. And Premiere is really, really simple to rename and to organize things into bins and into folders. And
yay, all this fun stuff over here. You can just, we really went organized. We even have our own post-production folder there, which I'll get into. This is all VFX stuff, but also where all of our sequences sit. So we've got the color and no music, and that's me.
So again, the more organized that you are when you are in a time crunch and you need to deliver something quick or you need to adapt something quick, the easier it is for you to go in and fix it and just spend the time on the front end. It's easy for me to say because Courtney did it. But seriously, the more prepared you are on the front end, it absolutely ends up saving you so much time and so much stress in being able to go back into a project, because it happens very rarely that everyone gets exactly what they need on the first time. You end up having to re-deliver things because files corrupt or something was missing, what have you. Even if you double and triple check on your end, it doesn't matter if you delivered something perfect. All that matters is if your team is telling you, hey, we don't have that clip, we don't have that file, and being able to go back in as organized as you made the project has made things expedited.
Also, if you decide you want to play around and decide something doesn't work, just make a bin for it. So this is an opening title card that we had. Ashleigh's going to know what it is as soon as she looks at it. Do you know what that is?
Oh, yeah.
We had to give you your own little folder for it.
Oh, man.
I had to do it. I'm sorry.
that was a playtime.
We won't show you guys that.
We won't.
But
it's embarrassing.
This was just playtime. So just drop it in its own folder so that all of your assets are not sitting down here. And then you're like, I don't know what any of this stuff is. So yeah. Anyway.
Ray asks, can me use a GPU to render a movie? You know, you can use it, but you are at the mercy of processing read-write speeds.
Which a lot of people don't pay attention to. A hard drive is not a hard drive. Like, well, it is, but it's not. Just for anyone, don't just grab any hard drive and then be like, I'm gonna like with the smallest read write speed, and then you're gonna try to render 4K. It's not going to happen for you.
Happening.
And please save yourself the headache. So when you are talking about giving anything to your post team as well, if you guys are editors, aren't editors, or your directors watching this and you're trying to learn a little bit about Premiere, I would ask your post team what kind of hard drive they need. We have worked with people in the past where they were like, oh, I have all my footage on this hard drive and it has a terrible read-write speed.
A 120 read-write speed.
And we can't do anything with that as a post team. So just make sure that you're openly communicating, even if it sounds like something that should be obvious or any of that. That's why we just try to over-explain and just be overly prepared just in case just in case it's not obvious, and it just saves you the headache later. Ashleigh and I are pro communication just to make sure it's easy.
Yeah, as far as the GPU-ness, it is really important to make sure that your GPU and the read-write speeds are good, and that you've got enough render space. Yeah.
I'm going to talk about the VFX deliverable a little bit. So bless Jeremy and a half. He's amazing.
So our project is a little bit particular, as you can see on the frame that Court was just on. There's a couple things that we need to fix. So there's mic cables that need to be taken out in a couple scenes, and we did something really special with this project that we have.
There it is. There's a mic cable.
We have an overlay because Courtney plays two characters. Courtney's an actress as well, and acted in this film. And again, one of the sequences is that she is in two places in the same scene as two different characters. So not only did we have our amazing post-production VFX artist, Jeremy, on set, but also he's doing the post VFX. And as you can see, this is one of the two sequences. So when we filmed it on set, We filmed
the other one.
three different takes of this. We filmed the take of Courtney on the left side as character V, Courtney on the right side as character Tina, and then we filmed a plate shot, which is nothing at all. I mean, it is an empty
no actors.
couch with no actors. And so when we were delivering the VFX, what did your process look like?
Yes. Also, wait, to answer Umo's question really cool, or Double's question, sorry. The program is stable. Yes, it does have autosave. You can adjust how often you want it to autosave. That was a feature that's been added. Thank you, Adobe, for that. But Ashleigh and I still like to save anyway, just because things happen. As we've been, if you learn nothing else from this, things happen. So we just always like to save anytime we do something, especially when you're in a time crunch. And we both have also lost edit work before. Even though autosave works, sometimes the backups don't, they just didn't save in the time that you needed it to. So it's always better to just save. Here, we're not too worried about saving right now because we're not making any severe changes. But so VFX, he needed certain things. So in some cases, he just needed the clip itself as it was. He did not need the full take. So in here, we have some text effects that are going to be added. And this was fine, just exporting the clip as it was.
So yeah, in that sequence, or in these two clips back to back, he will be adding text messages.
Yes.
Yeah.
And so this was fine. I originally built this timeline just to try to get all of the footage in one, so then I could just render out the Apple ProRes and get it going. But then when we needed some extra clips, it just made more sense for me to nest stuff, which I'll get into in a second. So this is the main timeline that I have, main sequence that I have of the clips that he needed. So when it comes to this stuff, when you have two people or more complicated VFX, this was when he needed the entire clip. I think I went a little too entire and literally gave him the slate at the top. I gave him the entire clip, and this will take a while to deliver, by the way. But so I laid all this stuff out just to make sure, and I gave him his plate shot at the end. And then we needed some other stuff. So that mic cable, for example, let me go into my post-production folder.
Look at how organized you are.
I know.
It's amazing.
So then he started needing things like the dance, which we showed you a little bit, that the mic cable and stuff like that. He only needed the clip, not the entire take. So instead of me trying to drag everything into here, I just went into the main edit and created a nested sequence. So to do that,
what is a nested sequence?
a nested sequence is essentially just taking that clip and it'll pop it onto a new sequence for you. It'll just collapse all of the information instead of trying to set an in and out point and grab the clip from there. So you're going to click nest, and then it'll automatically create something over here. Well, I choose where it goes, but it'll create all of this over here. So for example, Chris dance, we know that this clip is where a mic cable is. So then it makes it easier for you to export a single clip from your sequence if you just nest it. So that's what I started doing instead of trying to drag it all onto that main sequence and make sure that everything's there. I just have everything labeled. What does that say? Chris, what does that say?
Charlie V Confetti 1.
Okay, right. So just so I know exactly what needs to be in here. So then there's other ones. I think we've got, that's our Lana color, but let's see. These are the mic cables, I think, in the bathroom. Yeah. So then these are just the single clips of the bathroom stuff, like my mic cable that we didn't realize until too late, but it's fine. Well, it wasn't too late.
It's not too late.
Yeah. So there's that in here, and I just wanted to make it easier for myself, and then I just render out. So, or export out. That was how I did some of that stuff. When it comes to exporting, you're going to go to your export tab. This is something that is interesting. So normally you would look at your video and you're trying to figure out what you want things to look like. And you'll notice that sometimes it'll have all of these, but you don't see Apple ProRes, right? And that's something that we need. That is what Jeremy asked for. What you're going to have to do instead is, and you're going to see it up here too, you won't see it. You're going to see this Apple ProRes, which is not the one that you want. So instead of having this, you're going to have to actually scroll down and you're going to go to QuickTime. Once you do that, then you have your Apple ProRes option. That is so important. You have to, and now you have your different settings here. This is what Jeremy wanted, but that is your way to get your Apple ProRes in case anybody's confused as to why it's not showing up under video. You have to go to QuickTime first. And then once I did that, I went to my folder where everything's going to be saved, and it made it super easy. But that is something to note. That was a headache I ran into a little bit because I was so confused as to why it did not have what I needed it to have. But it does. It's just in a different area. And I mean, that was pretty much it. I did that for every piece, and then I did that for the main sequence as well for VFX. So all of this stuff. And he wanted audio as well. So just make sure that you're asking again if they want the audio attached, and it will take a little bit longer. But yeah, then once I did that, we uploaded to Drive, and it was good. But yeah, that just something to note again. Make sure that if you need to deliver an Apple ProRes that you use QuickTime.
Yeah.
And that was pretty much all that he needed. So that was good. I also try to give multiple, to go back to color really quick with Lana, was that I did this version for her. And then she also wanted a version that had the black bars, that had, just so she could have a visual reference, because we did have the final film exported for her, but I also gave her a timeline with the black bars just to make her life easier. So just make sure you're checking in with your post team to see exactly. We try to be, as we've said, over prepared than under prepared, and we'll try to just deliver different versions of what they ask for, just so we don't have to go back in, because Ashleigh and I are very, very busy. So the easiest that we can do this, the better. Yeah, so that's VFX. And did you want to play any of the film at all? Because we are at 9:47 already. Goodness, what happened?
Yeah, I mean, I don't want to play any of the music forward stuff, even though we've got the rights to it, just because I don't want to get anybody in trouble.
We don't want that.
Yeah, but this is just like the beginning of the film. This is no audio mix. This is very much a rough version of the project, but you can kind of see the gist of the beginning of the film.
Wakey, eggs and bakey.
Oh my goodness. It's so good.
This is our amazing actor, Chris Ash.
Chris Ash. You guys may have seen him before.
Thank you. You spoil me.
King to A1. Steak sauce. What kind of games are you playing?
I bet they do.
Oh. Oh.
No, cool, awesome. Now you're just gonna have to. Why am I doing this? I shouldn't be the one checking on him. Yeah, I get it. I'm nice, we're nice, but he's got friends.
So as you can hear, and as you can see, there's definitely some work that needs to be done, which is being done right now from the visual effects. Yeah, this project is very much happening in real time, and we have to have all of our assets done within the next less than 48 hours.
Feels like
Thanks, Ryan.
Feels like a 48-hour film festival. Thank you, Ryan. It definitely is a learning curve, Premiere is, but they have, Ashleigh and I went through these, but Premiere can be complicated, especially if you're used to working in other edit platforms, but they have tutorials built in, which we watched so many of them. And
It's true.
When we started, we were taking notes and we were like, how do we do this? And how do we do this? Just to make sure that when we did ever jump into an edit, we knew how to do the basic things. But it's so much better. Like I love the organization of it, and yeah, it takes a little bit of time, but I would say if you've edited before, you can pick it up pretty easy.
Yeah, I second that with Courtney. I think that absolutely, as a standard, having all of the different video tracks and audio tracks is essential. There are some programs that don't have the ability of having these tracks, and we would not be able to work as quickly as we have without that ability. Just to be able to toggle on an effect or toggle it off and be able to make that quick change with the click of a button, as opposed to having to go through each clip, turn off each individual asset, each individual effect, and then go back in and do that for everything again when you're re-implementing that, instead of just being able to have a thing that or a video channel that has black bars. And the reason that this is so messy up here is that there are scenes in here that we are changing aspect ratio. So some of it is a 16:9 traditional, and some of it is the 2:3:5 one with the black bars. And Adobe and Premiere make things very, very simple for us, and be able to, when the time comes, be able to add closed captioning, because we will have to deliver closed captioning for film festivals and for other deliverables for online screenings.
Yeah, and we love our layers, and we love locking them.
Some of us really enjoy locking layers, and others of us enjoy flying by the seat of our pants. So,
and Ray, thank you for being here. Thank you all for being here. Thank you for being interested in the deliverables, because it can be really daunting, but I promise it does get easier. I hope that we've made this a little bit easier for anybody who is looking to do this, or maybe you just need to deliver to one post-production person. But if you need more, we do hope that we made this a little bit easier for you guys. And thank you for being here and being interested in all of the many creators that are on Adobe Live, because it's such a cool thing to be here.
Jan, thank you. We've got about 4 minutes left. Does anyone have any other questions? As Court said, I hope that we did a good job explaining different things for the deliverables for our different post team members, because this has been huge for us. And I'm so thankful that we had the opportunity to not only create this project with the absolute love and support of our Ohana, and just all of the skills and lessons that we've learned up until this point to be able to make this happen in Premiere.
No, thank you guys so much. Clever Devlin, thank you so much. Yes, please wish us luck on this deadline. It feels like a 48-hour film festival, except no, that's exactly what it feels like.
It does.
So we're gonna do the best that we can to try to get this film across the finish line without sacrificing quality and what we want. So either way, we're really excited about it, and we hope you guys are excited about it too. If you guys would like to keep up with how this film's going, you can follow our Instagram. We're talking about that stuff. Miss Ash Productions is our production company Instagram. Or just follow us on the socials or all the things, and we'll let you guys know what's going on.
It's true.
How stressed we are.
Arco, my favorite feature is being able to toggle proxies on and off.
That is mine as well.
We would not have been able to work as quickly as possible without lag if it weren't for the proxies. And because it's right there that we can turn on and off when we are playing back footage in 4K, it makes it so much easier on our system that our systems don't crash.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah. And then,
do you have any favorite?
That is mine. And then Media Encoder, just for how quickly the proxies were made, really, I almost said deeply upset
Cody.
me, but it didn't. It made me really
appreciate
happy. Thank you so much, Cody, for dropping the Instagram in there. Ashley and I also tag our personals in that Instagram as well. So you can find us on all the socials pretty much. But yeah, thank you so much for being here, you guys. And again,
Yeah,
I'm Courtney
absolutely.
and this is Ashleigh. It's so nice to meet you guys. Thank you for everything. Thank you, Adobe.
Thank you, Adobe. Thank you, Ryan and Paco. We really, really appreciate
Yes,
you and all of
thank
the
you.
help. And Adobe, thanks for having us. Ohana, thank you all so much for tuning in to the YouTube and to Behance. Thank you all for being so incredibly, incredibly kind and asking all of these questions.
Yes.
No, thank you, Arco. Thank you. You all are amazing. And we hope that this has helped showcase Premiere and so many of the things that you can do so that you too can deliver a short or a feature film as quick as we have.
Yes, use your proxies. Premiere will thank you. Your hard drive will thank you. Your computer will thank you. And it's very, very easy to do. Thank goodness.
Yeah.
So yes, please use your proxies.
Please use your proxies and please remember to save. Keys.
Yes.
Yeah. Jay, thanks for being here. Deb, thanks for being here.
Thank you so much, Ray.
Thank you,
We really
Ray.
appreciate
Thank
it.
you so much. Again, I'm Ashleigh. This is Courtney. And thank you all so much for watching. And thanks so much for having us. We really, really appreciate you.
We do.
I'm going to hit buttons now.
We'll see you guys next time.
Take care. Have a great day.